What's going on, guys? My name is Renegade. Today I'm here for AQW News. This week we're going to be taking a look at the class buffs, hero points, and the Throne of Darkness event for this week. I think it's Tower of Mirrors. I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. Before I dive into that, if you guys could leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, that'd be great. Also, I'm going to be using Twitter much more, so if you guys want to follow me over there, that'd be awesome. Let's get into this week's news. Alright, so first up we'll talk about the class buffs that I mentioned before. So, Alina made a designer's post on the 8th of August. That's American time, by the way. It's the 7th of August for me. And she said that there will be Dragonslayer general buffs. So I'll just read out what she said. She said, "More good news. The class designers and balancers plus Artix and I watched your feedback and requests all weekend long. By the end of the day, Saturday, the designers were already brainstorming on how to improve the class. In the interest of not releasing a too overpowered class, the designers created a class that had room for improvement. We wanted to always listen to your feedback to make the classes that what you want them to be, and now with the changes made today, it will be. Those changes are coming or may already be live, and you can see the full list here. So I'll just click on the full list and you guys can see. So, well, I'll just read them out. So there is going to be increased damage on Seared from 250% from 180%. So this class, they're still tying in this class with dragons, which I don't agree with because there isn't really that many dragons in the game. And so this class really doesn't have a purpose. It's really just not worth farming, in my opinion. The reason why you'd farm it is just if you're a class collector or something, but they've made it basically buffs. There's been various buffs on the thing. So 250% from 880% pretty much is the damage on Seared. They reduced the mana to 10 from 12 on Basilisk Strike. They split up the buffs to apply 20% on non-Dragonkin and 20% additional on Dragonkin on the Drake Tongue ability. They reduced the mana on that same ability to 15 from 20, made it AoE 6 targets, and it deals 100% weapon damage on hit from 80%. So yeah, it's a much better ability. That there, Drake Tongue was the most useless ability in the world. It had like a really long cooldown, really high mana consumption, and it just was so useful. So useless. Yeah. So it actually buffs the mana regeneration as like a good side effect of that buff as well, because it's AoE now. Excuse me. Because it's AoE now, more enemies you have attacking you, the more money you'll gain back. So yeah, it's pretty strong now. Well, that ability is pretty strong now anyway. The class still isn't very good. It's not a very good class, guys, but if you're wondering, the class really still isn't worth getting, but it's better. So if you really do feel like you need a class that can fight dragons, then by all means farm it up. But you'll already have Dragonslayer rank 10 by the time you've got that class if you farmed it, so it's kind of pointless, I guess, but it's better than Dragonslayer by far. But, you know, Dragonslayer is a really old class, so it should be better than Dragonslayer anyway. And also there was Pierced Wyvern. Wyvern? Yeah, I still don't know how to pronounce it. I believe it's just Wyvern. Piercing Wyvern's Eye is now ranged, and yeah, they changed it from variable damage to consistent, 5-second cooldown from 6-second cooldown, and it added 5% crit damage per stack. Plus 5% crit damage, rather. Piercing Wyvern's Eye felt a bit lackluster, and it was expensive. Had a somewhat long cooldown and took 5 stacks before it was at full strength. So yeah, they've just pretty much done that. And Ancient Rites stays the same, so there's no difference in Ancient Rites. So yeah, it's still a kind of a garbage class, but you know, whatever. Recent unplanned nerfs and other changes that they had to classes. So players, I'll just read out what they said here. Players have reported changes to several classes like Abyssal Angel, saying that they are doing less damage than before. Adjustments to rebalance those classes rolled out slightly early on the new server. Those are actually buffs, but with the current server, people are experiencing lower damage levels. Other recent class changes include Archfiend now has better mana regeneration, consistent healing, and improved damage. Arachnomancer got a small buff to its survivability, and we are looking into its DOT damage for when the server rewrite goes live. Alpha Pirate was doing spell damage while being mainly a weapon damage class, so we adjusted it to do only weapon damage, which gave it a nice damage boost. The other classes on the to rebalance list will be adjusted after the server rewrite, since the effect is too dramatic to release on the current live servers. So I imagine what they're going to do with the classes is they're just going to make them all like viable in some way or another, which would be really cool. I also just would like to throw you guys an idea. I'd really like for you guys to leave your thoughts on this. I was sort of just thinking in the weekend about the way currently classes and monsters and stuff work in the game. It'd be really cool if they had monsters that did certain damage based on what they're I guess their theme. So if you were fighting a frost based monster, then it would do ice damage and perhaps magical damage. And certain classes counter different kinds of damage and then counter certain types of monsters. So certain monsters take more ice damage than others. So if you put an ice damage class like Cryomancer, for example, then your Cryomancer class is going to do much less damage to ice monsters, but much more damage to fire monsters, if that makes sense. So you gotta there are certain counters in the game. There are certain ways that classes can be better in other situations than others. And so Blaze Blinder is a fire-based class, so you might use it in ice monsters. And then of course they'd have a designated class for chaos maybe, and then a designated class for this, a designated class for that. They'd make classes useful in every different kind of situation. Maybe in the Throne of Darkness series, it'd have different types of monsters in every different type of area, and I don't know, they could really just flesh it out and make it a really cool system. But the current thing with classes in AQW now, I believe that just all monsters will take the same damage regardless of what they do, unless they have an ability that reduces their incoming damage, and it's pretty much just really basic. And so I think that'd be a really cool way to spice things up a bit, make certain classes more viable in certain situations, and it could really just make the game more interesting, I think, more interesting to play. Because you'd have to be constantly using different classes when you're fighting. Because AQW, I guess, is different to other MMOs and such in the way that it does its classes. People complain about AQW in the sense that they release too many classes, but I think they could use it as a strength. They could say, look, we released a lot of classes because we want you to switch your classes up a lot. We want you to change from class to class, between room to room. You might literally have to change class every time you move rooms or whatever in an area you're fighting with. That would be kind of annoying, but not to that extent. Per area, per map, you might have to change classes because of the way damage works. So that'd be kind of cool to do that. And so I'd just like to see your guys' opinions on that idea, I guess. That'd be really cool just to see what you guys think, how that could be different, how it could be better, whatever. And then we could maybe, once we've got a really cool idea to give AE, we could make a video and send it to them and see what they think for the server rewrite. That'd be really cool. And we'll move on to what else have I got for news? Oh my god, I am so disorganized. Oh, of course, the other things that are in that post. Okay, so a little bit further down in that list of changes that Alina mentioned in that post, she said, speaking of the server rewrite, good news, the server rewrite itself is done, but Yoromi, I don't actually know, Yorami? Like I've said countless times, I read these names and I have a pronunciation in my head, but I never actually have to say them. And so when I come to say them, it's what the fuck? How do I pronounce this? Either way, the server rewrite itself is done, but Yorumi estimates he has maybe a week left of client-side bugs, unless something goes unexpectedly awire. How do you say that word? I actually genuinely am so interested to see how that word is spelled. Either way, which can happen. These are primarily small but important fixes like chat mute's not working, PvP amulet's not equipping, Facebook link button does nothing. He's been making steady progress on those 20 plus bugs fixed last week alone. For everyone asking about the PTR server bank pit, you need 150 quest missions sprockets to create your very own PTR reward. You can get those by doing any of the quests on the PTR servers, so PTR testing servers. So I believe that counts for both of the PTR testing servers, because there are 2 right now. Make sure you report any bugs you find on the bug tracker. And just another quick thing to mention before we move on to the next piece of news. You can get 2 free hero points by going to your email. I believe you'll have an email or something like that. Well, I'll just read out the post. I got an email with mine. You can check your email for an email from AQW or whatever. But basically, within that same Alina post that she made, she said, get your 2 free hero points, helps I don't fucking know. Celebrate the grand opening of the in-game Hero Mart location by completing his quest for 2 free hero points. Oh, you complete the quest. That's interesting. Once you've gotten yours, you can spend them in his in-game merge shop. His quest is one time only, but you can always get more hero points when you buy merch from HeroMart.com. Currently, the only item that comes with the hero points is a new AQ3D shirt, but more HeroMart products will have them in the future. Oh, okay, there we go. Note, if you've bought any Hero Mart merchandise in the past, make sure you check your inbox, as you got an email with code for with a code for exclusive free hero points. You can redeem those and do strife, I don't know, in-game quest for 2 free hero points. So yeah, the thing with the email that I mentioned before, if you've ever purchased something on Hero Mart, like ever, you'll have 2 free hero points that you can go to your email to check. Go with the email that you used for your sign up in the or your sign in rather for Hero Mart. So if you sent like an email, you put like an email that you would have used for them to keep you updated with your tracking or whatever, with your shipping. That's probably the email they send it to. They might send it to your Artix account email, I don't know. Either way, you can get those points, you redeem them on your Artix account, and then you'll have 2 hero points in game AQW. You can redeem them in another game as well, I believe. But yeah, so, or you can go to his quest at /join Hero Mart and get them. So finally this week we'll talk a little bit about the Throne of Darkness series. So we haven't really got much news here, Throne of Darkness Saga rather. So there's just a small post made by Alina, and she basically just said, this week in Return to Throne of Darkness Saga as you fight to survive Scarletta, the Sorceress's Enchanted Mirror Maze, and the Shattered Knight that guards it. Battle through the Enchanted Hedge Maze, through an enchanted hedge maze, survive the mirrored knights, and take on the beasts of the maze. Normally, we have a couple of monster drops with most of the release rewards in the merge shop. This week, we're trying something new to see what you guys prefer. All of the week story release rewards in the /Shatterglass map will drop from zone monsters, prepare to battle for the gear you want. I actually really do prefer the way that they do that. I personally like to fight different monsters to get different items. It's just a better way of doing it in my opinion, so I'm really glad that they're doing that. I hope they do realize that that's, well, I don't know what you guys would prefer, but that's what I prefer, so I guess you guys might prefer the same thing. I generally share the same opinion as most people, but you never know. Either way, this is actually getting really close to the end of the Throne of Darkness series, so we'll actually be facing off against the mysterious guy, I don't know what his name is, very soon, which is really exciting. Other than that though guys, that's about it for this week's news. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. This is a weekly series, so I'll be uploading this again this time next week. And yeah, other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.